Hello and welcome to Current News. My name is Neel. In this special segment, we will discuss news which is important from the perspective of your exam. The bulletin of the last whole week which might echo in your question paper in the examination hall. Let's begin with the headlines. Supreme Court prohibits the use of Sedition Law. The Apex Court directed the government to reconsider this law. Section 124A of IPC defines sedition. Environment Ministry approves an exemption to island coastal zone regulation. It will ease infrastructure development in the islands. Andaman and Nicobar Coastal Zone Management Authority had requested the central government to provide relaxations in the law. Central government reduced the wheat production estimate for the current crop year. Wheat yield declined due to hot weather. Centre's wheat procurement also declined in the current Rabi season. 15th session of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification commences. It aims at preventing desertification and drought. Environment Minister of India also attends the conference. National Family Health Survey report indicates decline in fertility rate. Fertility rate among Muslim community declined the most. Only 5 states have fertility rates above replacement fertility level. Now let's begin with news of the week. Supreme Court has recently delivered a major verdict on Sedition Law. The Apex Court has put the law on hold and has directed the central government to review the law in a specified period. The central government had earlier urged the Supreme Court to postpone hearing on the Sedition Law related cases till the law is reviewed. While responding to the central government's request, the Supreme Court directed that the government should clarify its stand regarding pending cases related to the Sedition Law and cases to be registered under this law in future till the law is reviewed. Hence, the Sedition Law is in headlines these days. A petition was filed in the Supreme Court regarding the Sedition Law in July 2021. In this petition, an appeal was made to direct the central government to consider the legality of the law. The petitioner had argued that the Sedition Law and its provisions belong to the colonial period and their relevance has diminished in the present times. The petitioner had also argued that the government is using this law to serve its political interests. Therefore, the Sedition Law must be reconsidered. Sedition has been defined under Section 124A of the IPC, that is Indian Penal Code. Sedition has been declared a crime under the said section. According to Section 124A of the IPC, whoever by words, either spoken or written, or by signs or by visible representation or otherwise brings or attempts to bring into hatred or contempt or excites or attempts to excite disaffection the government established by law will be held liable for sedition. However, it is not an offence to oppose or comment on any policy of the government without exciting or attempting to excite hatred, contempt or disaffection. Sedition law provides for imprisonment ranging from 3 years to life imprisonment as well as a fine. In addition, if needed, the guilty person may also have to appear before the court. Besides, a person found guilty under the Sedition Law will also be considered ineligible for government jobs. This law was incorporated in the Indian Penal Code in 1870 to deal with anti-national, separatist and terrorist activities. Recently, the Supreme Court has regained its full sanctioned strength of maximum of 34 judges with the appointment of 2 new judges. However, the number of judges came down to 33 when Justice Vineet Saran retired on 10th May 2022. Presently, the Supreme Court can have a maximum of 34 judges, including the Chief Justice of India. However, prior to this, the Supreme Court had the full sanctioned strength of a maximum of 31 judges, including the CJI. But the sanctioned strength had been increased to 34 after the central government passed the Supreme Court Number of Judges Amendment Bill 2019. It must be noted that Article 124(2) of the Constitution of India mentions the procedure for the appointment of judges in the Supreme Court. Under this procedure, the judges of the Supreme Court are appointed by the President after consulting some judges of the Supreme Court and High Courts. Since the commencement of the collegium system, the collegium advises the President in this matter. When a vacancy for the post of a Supreme Court judge arises, the CJI initiates the proposal for recommending the names of the judges for the post. The CJI decides on his recommendation in consultation with a collegium of 4 senior-most judges of Supreme Court. Along with the rest of the members of collegium, CJI also consults the senior-most judge of the High Court to which the person recommended for the post of judge belongs. Thereafter, the CJI sends his recommendations regarding the judge's appointment to the Union Law Minister. The Union Law Minister then presents the final recommendations of the CJI to the Prime Minister, who advises the President of India on the appointments of judges to the Supreme Court. After the President approves the appointment of a judge, the Secretary, Department of Justice, informs the CJI. Besides, he also obtains a physical fitness certificate from the appointed judge signed by the civil surgeon or district medical officer. Then the appointment of judge is announced by the Secretary once the warrant of appointment is signed by the President of India. However, a person must also possess certain qualifications to become a judge of Supreme Court. That is, he or she must be a citizen of India. He should be a judge of High Court or more than one court for not less than 5 years, or he should be an advocate of a High Court or more than one High Court for 10 years, or he should be an eminent jurist in the President's opinion. Recently, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has approved an exemption to the laws governing the regulation of coastal zones, that is, the Island Coastal Zone Regulation. It aims at removing the obstacles in setting up gas-powered plants in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. It must be noted that Andaman and Nicobar Islands were declared as Island Protection Zone in 2019 under Section 3 of the Environmental Protection Act 1986. The Island Coastal Zone Regulation 2019 limits infrastructure development on vulnerable coastal stretches. Some projects were stalled due to the provisions of this regulation. Hence, the Andaman and Nicobar Coastal Zone Management Authority requested the central government to provide relaxation in these rules. The centre then constituted the National Coastal Zone Management Authority, an expert body of the ministry for this purpose. The recent exemptions are in line with the recommendations of this expert body. Accepting the recommendations, the centre has allowed establishment of gas-based power plant within the Island Coastal Zone Regulation area only in islands with geographical areas greater than 100 square kilometers. The administration is expected to commission a 50 megawatt LNG-based power project in Port Blair to be developed by NTPC. The expected plant shall be a dual-fuel power plant that runs on both diesel and LNG. It must be mentioned that the Niti Aayog had hosted an investors' conference for the holistic development of islands in 2018. It was aimed at attracting investment for sustainable development of eco-tourism projects in Andaman and Nicobar Islands and Lakshadweep Islands. After Niti Aayog's initiative, a proposal was prepared for developing the Greater Andaman region or the southernmost stretch of the islands. The proposal includes a 22 square kilometer airport complex, a transshipment port at the South Bay, and a free trade zone and warehousing complex on the southwestern coast. Recently, several cases of interstate arrests have come to the fore in India. It is to be understood that police or its related subjects are a state subject under the 7th schedule of the Constitution of India. Accordingly, the jurisdiction of a state police is limited to the state. Section 48 and 79 of the Code of Criminal Procedure deal with the interstate arrests. According to Section 48, a police officer is authorized to arrest without warrant, and in order to arrest the accused, he or she may pursue such person to any place in India. However, it has been debated whether the word pursue in this section means entering another state in a chase or is applicable to an accused who is staying in another state and is not cooperating with investigators. Section 79 deals with interstate arrests on the basis of warrants issued by competent courts. This section lays down a detailed procedure for interstate arrests, that is, a person can be arrested in another state on the basis of a warrant issued by the competent court. Normally, these arrests are made with the local police assistance, but the local police is informed only before or after the arrest in suspicious cases. In 2019, in Sandeep Kumar versus the State Government of NCT of Delhi case, the Delhi High Court had issued certain guidelines for interstate arrests. It states that a police officer will have to take permission in writing or on the phone from his or her senior officer to visit another state to arrest an accused. The officer must make an endeavor to get an arrest warrant from a court except in emergent cases. Also, before visiting the other state, the police officer must endeavor to establish contact with the local police station in whose jurisdiction he is to conduct the investigation. While returning, the police officer must visit the local police station and cause an entry made in the daily diary specifying the name and address of the person being taken out of the state. Hence, it is necessary to inform the local police in case of arrest. The local police has the right to take legal action in case of non-compliance of this procedure. Recently, the government has lowered its wheat production estimates to 105 million tons from the projected 111.32 million tons for the current crop year. In fact, unusual warm weather conditions persisted during March to April 2022 in most parts of the key grain-producing states of Punjab, Haryana, Madhya Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh. Hence, the production of wheat is expected to fall on account of dwindling wheat production in these states. India is the second largest producer of wheat in the world, with China being the top producer and Russia the third largest. After 5 straight years of bumper wheat output, India has had to revise downwards its estimated production due to prevalent circumstances. Also, the centre's wheat procurement is likely to decline in the current Rabi marketing year. It is worth mentioning that till now the centre has procured 17.5 million tons of wheat, which is likely to touch 19.5 million tons when the season ends. The centre had procured 43.3 metric tons of wheat from the farmers in the last marketing season, and it had set a target to procure 44.4 metric tons of wheat in this marketing season. However, the centre's wheat procurement is set to decline by more than half to 19.5 million tons amid higher exports and likely fall in the output. Besides, government's wheat purchase has seen a dip owing to higher market prices being offered by private traders. In fact, price of wheat at international level has shot up due to ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Hence, a large quantity of wheat is being bought by private traders at higher rate than the MSP or minimum support price for taking advantage of the rising prices. It is to be noted that India had exported 7.85 metric tons of wheat in the financial year 21-22. Also, the centre has estimated to export 12 metric tons of wheat in the fiscal year 22-23. Moreover, after Egypt, Turkey has also given approval for the import of Indian wheat. India has been eyeing deals with new export markets in the European Union countries too. COP15 of the UNCCD, that is United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, is started in Abidjan in Africa on 9th May 2022. The conference will conclude on 20th May 2022. The Environment Minister of India, Shri Bhupendra Yadav, along with his delegation, participated in this conference. The last COP14 was organized in India in 2019, and it was also presided over by India. In COP14, India had committed to restore 26 million hectares of degraded land by 2030. Moreover, an Indian government working group was also constituted for the first time in COP14 to suggest effective policies and measures for tackling drought. The Environment Minister, in the opening ceremony of COP15, enumerated the commitments of COP14 and achievements of India in this direction. He stated that India has taken several steps to prevent desertification and conserve land. Soil health card is the most important step taken by India. He also stated that more than 229 million soil health cards have been issued to farmers between 2015 and 2019. It has improved soil health monitoring. The use of chemical fertilizers has also declined by 8 to 10%. Besides, an increase of 5 to 6% has been registered in the productivity. A plan of action was adopted for the first time at United Nations Conference on Desertification held in 1977. It was aimed at overcoming the problem of desertification. However, the measures taken were not effective in preventing desertification. Later, it was agreed to prepare framework of the UNCCD at the Earth Summit in 1992, and it was adopted in Paris in 1994. After its adoption, UNCCD COP was established. According to a new study published in the journal Nature, climate change will result in thousands of new viruses spread among animal species by 2070. It is likely to increase the risk of emerging infectious diseases jumping from animals to humans. Also, the study highlights two global crises: climate change and infectious disease spread. Researchers have also used a model to explain these findings. Based on this model, they have estimated that if the world warms by 2 degrees centigrade, then more than 3,000 mammal species would migrate and transmit different viruses over the next 50 years. Researchers said that not all viruses will spread to humans or become pandemic like the scale of the coronavirus, but the number of cross-species viruses increases the risk of spread to humans. In fact, there are potential chances for the transmission of cross-species viruses due to increased contact between humans and other animal species, leading to major pandemics in the future. The cross-species viruses can be understood with an illustration. Suppose a bird is infected with a flu virus and a human infected with another flu virus comes into a pig's contact. Neither the bird nor the human will infect each other with the flu viruses present in them, but on the contrary, the pig will get infected with the flu virus of these two beings. Later, both these viruses will regroup in the pig's body and produce a new H1N1 virus. This new virus is called cross-species virus that can infect humans. It is being believed that the recent findings hold true especially for Africa and Asia. These continents have been hotspots for deadly disease spread from humans to animals or vice versa over the last several decades, including the flu, HIV, Ebola, and COVID-19. Also, African and Asian nations face the greatest threat of increased virus exposure in the future. Besides, the study highlights climate injustices experienced by people living in African and Asian nations. African and Asian nations face the greatest threat of being affected by the repercussions of climate change, while they have done the least to create climate change. Recently, the Center, through the Agricultural and Processed Food Product Export Development Authority or APIDA, conducted a webinar with tissue culture laboratories spread across India. It is worth mentioning that these laboratories have been accredited by the Department of Biotechnology. The webinar was organized for export promotion of tissue culture plants such as foliage, live plants, cut flowers, and planting material. Issues and challenges faced in tissue cultured planting material production and its exports were deliberated upon in the webinar. It is to be noted that India plays a cardinal role in tissue culture export. In 2020-2021, India's export of tissue culture plants stood at $17.17 million, with the Netherlands accounting for around 50% of these shipments. The top 10 countries importing tissue culture plants from India are Netherlands, USA, Italy, Australia, Canada, Japan, Kenya, Senegal, Ethiopia, and Nepal. Tissue culture is a technique in which plant tissues are grown in the laboratory with the help of a nutrient medium. Nutrient medium is a solution containing an abundance of hormones, vitamins, and proteins, etc., which aid the growth of plant. G. Haberlandt is known as the father of plant tissue culture. This technique has proved beneficial for producing disease-free plants and increasing the yield of plants. Bananas, eggplants, pineapples, tomatoes, sweet potatoes, etc. are produced with the help of tissue culture in developing countries. It must be noted that APIDA was established in 1986 by the Government of India under the Agricultural and Processed Food Products Export Development Authority Act. APIDA is also running a financial assistance scheme to upgrade tissue culture laboratories for producing export quality planting materials. Monkeypox virus has been confirmed recently in a person who had travelled from Nigeria to United Kingdom. However, the United Kingdom's Health Protection Agency has stated that this rare viral infection does not transmit easily to humans. Still, the agency is tracing the persons who came in contact with the infected person as a precautionary measure. Earlier cases of monkeypox were reported in the United Kingdom in 2018. At that time, 3 people, including a health worker, were infected. Out of these 3 people, 2 persons had also travelled to Nigeria. Monkeypox is a rare zoonotic viral disease or disease transmitted from animals to humans. It belongs to the Pox virus genus of Pox Viridae family. The virus was first confirmed in animals in 1958. Since the virus was confirmed from captive monkey colonies kept for research purposes, hence the virus was named monkeypox. However, the first case of monkeypox virus in humans was reported in 1970 in Democratic Republic of Congo. Thereafter, it was extensively reported from rural and rainforest areas in the Western and Central Africa. Since 1970, cases of monkeypox have been reported in 11 African countries, including the Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Gabon, Ivory Coast, Liberia, Nigeria, and South Sudan. However, the first case of monkeypox virus in humans outside Africa was reported in the United States in 2003. Till now, cases of monkeypox virus have been reported in 15 countries across 4 continents. The primary transmission of monkeypox virus is from animals to humans. This transmission can occur through direct contact with blood, fluids, damaged skin, or wounds from infected animals. Also, one may get infected with this virus by consuming undercooked meat or other animal products of infected animals. Monkeypox has been confirmed in many animal species in the Africa continent. These include squirrels, rats, various species of monkeys, etc. Although the chances of secondary transmission or human-to-human transmission of the monkeypox virus are very low, yet the virus can transmit to humans through inhaled droplets, skin sores, objects used by infected persons, etc. Recently, the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare published the National Family Health Survey 5 Phase-II Report. According to the report, the total fertility rate or TFR at the national level has declined from 2.2 in 2015-16 to 2.0 in 2019-2021. Consequently, the country's total fertility rate fell below the replacement level of fertility, that is 2.1. As per recent report, only 5 states in India, namely Bihar, Meghalaya, Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, and Manipur have fertility rates above the fertility replacement level. Also, Bihar has the highest fertility rate, while Sikkim has the lowest fertility rate in India. The TFR among women in rural areas has declined from 3.7 in 1992-93 to 2.1 in 2019-21. The corresponding decline during this period among the women in urban areas was from 2.7 to 1.6. Data on religious grounds has also been published in the survey. According to the survey, the fall in fertility rate has been sharpest in the Muslim community in the last 2 decades. However, the fertility rate among Muslim community remains the highest among all religious communities. According to the report, the total fertility rate of Muslim community has declined from 4.4 in 1992-93 to 2.3 in 2019-2021, whereas the total fertility rate of Hindu community declined from 3.3 to 1.94 during this period. Moreover, the current fertility rates of Christian, Sikh, Jain, and Buddhist communities are 1.88, 1.61, 1.6, and 1.39 respectively. The total fertility rate in a specific year is defined as the total number of children that would be born to each woman if she were to live to the end of her childbearing years. Replacement level fertility, on the other hand, is the level of fertility at which population exactly replaces itself from one generation to the other. In most countries, it can be taken as requiring an average of 2.1 children per woman. Also, if the total fertility rate is less than the replacement fertility level, then it indicates that a generation is not producing enough children to replace itself. A recently released report has flagged that most of the Indian soils are deficient in organic carbon and macronutrients. According to the report, levels of organic carbon and macronutrients are either very low or medium for most of the soils in India. This report is titled State of Biofertilizers and Organic Fertilizers in India. It has been released by the Center for Science and Environment, a Delhi-based environmental think tank. The findings of the report are based on the testing of about 50 million soil samples across India. In fact, several samples were tested by the government during 2015 to 2016 and 2018-19 to understand the state of the country's soils. About 85% of these soil samples were found to be deficient in organic carbon, while 97% of these samples were found to be deficient in available nitrogen. Also, 83% of these samples were deficient in phosphorus and 71% deficient in potassium. Moreover, it was found that various micronutrients were lacking in all these soil samples. Besides, it was observed that there was a boron deficiency in about 47% samples, zinc deficiency in 39% samples, iron deficiency in 37% samples, and sulfur deficiency in 36% samples. Region-wise, at least half of the soil samples from 24 states and union territories of the country were deficient in organic carbon. According to the report, Haryana's soil is the most deficient in organic carbon. It is followed by Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, and Rajasthan respectively. Moreover, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium deficiencies were recorded in at least half of the samples from 32 states and union territories. Recently, a severe cyclonic storm Asani has hit the eastern coastal states of India. It is worth mentioning that Asani is North Indian Ocean's first cyclone in 2022 and it has been named by Sri Lanka. Asani is a Sinhalese word which means wrath. In fact, whenever a cyclone hits a country, the first thing that strikes the minds of most is that what these names mean and how are the cyclones named. In 2000, the members of WMO ESCAP panel on tropical cyclones decided to name the cyclones occurring in the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea. At the time, the panel consisted of 8 countries, namely Bangladesh, India, Maldives, Myanmar, Oman, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Thailand. The panel had prepared the final list of cyclones names based on the names suggested by these countries. However, in the 45th session of WMO ESCAP, it expanded to include 5 more countries in 2018: Iran, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. During this session, a need for a new list of tropical cyclones was also felt. Later, India's India Meteorological Department, one of the 6 regionally specialized meteorological stations of the world, published a list of 169 names of tropical cyclones occurring in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea in 2020. It is to be understood that 13 names were suggested by all the 13 member countries of the WMO ESCAP panel. As soon as any cyclone originates in the Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea, it is named chronologically from the names included in this list. The next cyclone after Asani cyclone will be called Sitrang, and this name has been suggested by Thailand. The names suggested by India for this list are Gati, Tej, Murasu, Aag, Vyom, Jhar, Probaho, Neer, Prabhanjan, Ghurni, Ambud, Jaladhi, and Vega. While picking names for cyclones, countries need to follow some rules. The proposed name should be neutral to politics, religious beliefs, cultures, and gender. Name should be chosen in such a way that it does not hurt the sentiments of any group of population over the globe. Also, it should be short, easy to pronounce, and should not be offensive to any member. Besides, the names should not be repeated. It must be noted that WMO ESCAP panel on tropical cyclones is an intergovernmental regional body. It was established jointly by World Meteorological Organization and ESCAP, the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for the Asia Pacific, in 1972. Let us now look at the 5 questions based on the today's bulletin.
Questions for this series are: first question is, consider the following statements. 1. State of Biofertilizers and Organic Fertilizers in India report has been published by the Indian Council of Agricultural Research. 2. This report is based on the performance of the Soil Health Card Scheme. 3. According to this report, the deficiency of organic carbon is highest in Haryana's soil. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 and 3 only, 3 only, 2 and 3 only, or 2 only? Next question is, consider the following statements with reference to Asani cyclone. 1. Tropical cyclone Asani is the first cyclone of 2022 to originate in the North Indian Ocean region. 2. Sri Lanka has given the name Asani to this cyclone. 3. The origin of the tropical cyclone is between 8 to 15 degree north latitudes. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 and 3 only, 1 only, 3 only, or 1, 2 and 3? Next question is, consider the following statements with reference to the CRPC Act. 1. Section 48 and 79 of CRPC deal with interstate arrest. 2. Section 48 of CRPC deals with interstate arrest without a warrant, while Section 79 deals with interstate arrest based on warrant issued by competent courts. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2? Next question is, consider the following statements with reference to tissue culture. 1. Central government has recently organized a webinar on tissue culture for the first time in collaboration with APIDA and tissue culture laboratories. 2. In 2020 to 21, tissue culture plants worth about $171.7 million were exported from India. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, or neither 1 nor 2? Last question is, consider the following statements with reference to the National Family Health Survey 5 report. 1. According to the recent report, the total fertility rate decreased from 2.2 to 2.0 between 2015 to 16 and 2019 to 21. 2. According to the report, at present, the total fertility rate among Muslims is 2.3, while the total fertility rate among Hindus is 1.94. 3. At present, the total fertility rate is less than the replacement fertility level. Which of the above statement or statements is or are correct? 1 and 3 only, 1 only, 3 only, or 1, 2 and 3?
So for the time being, that's all in this bulletin. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe Drishti IAS Hindi, English and PCS YouTube channels. At the end, let us have a look at few more events of the last week in other news.
According to the latest data of Prapti portal, the total dues of power producers with the power distribution companies have increased to about 121 crore rupees in May 2022. Prapti portal was launched in May 2018 for bringing transparency in power purchase transactions between power producers and distribution companies. Prapti stands for Payment Ratification and Analysis in Power Procurement for bringing transparency in invoicing of generators. According to the Mercom India Solar Project Tracker, Rajasthan has become the first Indian state to cross 10 gigawatt solar capacity. However, the total installed power capacity in Rajasthan is 32.5 gigawatt. At present, solar projects of more than 16 gigawatt are under construction in Rajasthan. Mercom India is a subsidiary of the US-based Mercom Capital Group. It provides research and communication services to clean energy organizations. Niti Aayog has recently launched AIM Prime Playbook. This playbook aims at promoting early-stage, science-based, deep technology ideas to market using a blended learning curriculum. AIM Prime stands for Atal Innovation Mission Program for Researcher in Innovation, Market Readiness and Entrepreneurship. Recently, paramilitary force Assam Rifles honored the surviving soldiers of Operation Dudhi, who were part of the most successful 30-year-old anti-terrorist operation in India's defense history. Operation Dudhi was conducted by a battalion of Assam Rifles in Jammu and Kashmir from 1990 to 1992. This operation is the most successful anti-terrorist operation ever conducted by any security force. In this operation, the battalion eliminated 72 terrorists and also captured 13 others. Recently, Atal Cancer Care Center was inaugurated in Ambala Cantonment. State-of-the-art facilities including chemotherapy, radiotherapy, blood test, MRI are available in this newly constructed center. This center will provide accessible, affordable and comprehensive treatment to cancer patients from Haryana as well as from various neighboring states. World Migratory Bird Day was celebrated across the world on 8th May. World Migratory Bird Day is an annual awareness campaign. It aims at highlighting the ecological importance of migratory birds, the challenges faced by these birds and the need to conserve their habitats. World Migratory Bird Day was first celebrated in 2006. Recently, the Union Home Ministry launched CAPF Rehabilitation Portal for retired personnel of Central Armed Police Forces and Assam Rifles. These retired personnel will have to upload their personal details on this portal in order to get employment related to their expertise and preference in private security agencies. Recently, journalists Danish Siddiqui, Adnan Abidi, Sarna Irshad Mattu and Amit Dave were posthumously awarded the Pulitzer Prize for 2022. They were awarded with the Pulitzer Prize for the Best Feature Photography while covering COVID-19 crisis in India. Pulitzer Prize is considered America's most prestigious honor in the field of journalism. This award was instituted in 1917. Photographer Danish Siddiqui was killed during the clash between the Taliban and the Afghan army. 75 ponds in Ghaziabad have been identified for revival under the central government's Amrit Sarovar scheme. This scheme was launched in April 2022. It aims at constructing at least 75 ponds in each district of India. Recently, the world's largest film conservation project was launched under the National Film Heritage Mission. Around 2,200 films are to be revived under the National Film Heritage Mission. National Film Heritage Mission was launched in 2016 with a budget of 597 crore rupees. It aims at preserving, restoring and digitizing the cinematic heritage of India. Under this mission, the work of preserving 10 iconic films of Satyajit Ray has been completed so far. Of the preserved films, Satyajit Ray's film Pratidwandi has been selected by the Cannes to premiere in the Cannes Classics section of the 2022 edition.